everybody, and Happy New Year. Isn't it good? Isn't it good to be starting a brand new year? So I actually just had a quick look at the last time I did a video for you, and it was 6 months ago. That's how long it's been. There has been a lot going on around here, big changes. I haven't had any time to do videos. I've still been doing some sewing, but I just haven't been able to get on and do any tutorials and things for you guys. So my New Year's resolution is I'm going to do more sewing, and I'm going to work on doing more tutorials for you. Now, being realistic, I don't think that's going to be a weekly occurrence. I'd like to try and aim for fortnightly. Otherwise, at minimum, monthly. So I know you guys probably want something a bit quicker, but you know, we all have things going on. We're all working and we're all doing stuff. Some of you've got kids, some of you've got careers, whatever. And sewing is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be a chore, okay? So if you're getting to a point where you're doing it too often that's feeling like a chore, drop back. Just take a breather. So that's what we're going to do for this year. I actually spent some time writing out a whole bunch of different projects that we can do over the year. And so I've got things from small 5-minute projects. I've got things centered around various days like International Nurses Day. As you know, I'm a nurse, so we're going to be doing some things for the nurses as well. I've got things for wildlife, so wildlife rescue is a big passion of mine too. So we have things that we can do to help the wildlife rescuers as well. So stick with me. We've got stacks. So looking forward to the year. Now, I'm actually recording this before the 1st of January. I'm in that weird time between Christmas and New Year's where you don't really know what day it is. So I thought, let's start off with something really simple for the year, just to get our feet wet in the water again and get back slowly into doing something that we enjoy. So what I've decided for us today is we're going to be making some little makeup removers. Very easy, really very simple. I don't have a pattern. I'm just making this up as we go. Okay, so this is sewing by the seat of our pants. So follow along as best you can. What I've got in front of me, I went to Woolies the other day and I bought some of these microfibre cloths. You can get them in the $2 shop. You can get them at Bunnings. You know, just the cheap brand. Don't spend a lot of money. I think these are about $3.50 for a pack of 4. So I'm going to use these. You don't have to use these. Another option for makeup remover is always your towels and face cloths. So you can go to Kmart and you can buy a full size towel for about $6. They are the thin size, the thin one, so not a big, thick, heavy thread count. You want something on the thinner side for this particular project because you want things that are going to be able to dry quite quickly as well. So that's why we go for a cheaper version of a towel. If you're wanting to recycle things you've already got in your cupboard, go through your linen cupboard. Look for some threadbare towels that you're thinking of getting rid of and cut them up. But if this is a gift for somebody, pop into a shop and get some cheap new ones. Now, that's going to be the bit that you obviously use on your face. I have gone through my stash of bits and pieces. I've got so many offcuts. So I've just chosen this one, my little cats. Now this particular fabric is cotton duck. So it's thicker than just a normal cotton. It is still 100% cotton, but it's thicker. You don't have to use this. You can use any cotton fabric that you have. You can even use a cotton poly blend if you wanted, but I'm just thinking of things that are able to dry quickly. So you can use if you've got fat quarters of just 100% cotton, grab that. You know, don't go out of your way buying yards of fabric. So I've just got this offcut, which should be the right size. And I found this offcut as well. This is just 100% cotton, just in a plain, because I've got stacks of plain fabric that I use for things as well. So that's what we're going to use today. Now I'm winging it, so I've got a bowl. This is how high tech we are around here. I'm pretty low brow when it comes to a lot of the sewing and stuff, so we're going to trace around a bowl, okay? And I've just got my scissors. I've got my quilting ruler, but any ruler you've got, and this is just for measuring our little bit here. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see what, you know, size I want this to be. So grab your fat quarter or your piece of fabric or your offcut, grab that, pop your bowl on it. Now that pretty much, oh, it fits top and bottom. I need a lead pencil. Now I'm going to trace around like that. Okay. So this is so beginner friendly as well. So, you know, if you're just new to my channel, welcome. We're really happy to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm really glad you're back. It's been 6 months, so I was wondering if anyone would even still be here. So now I don't know what size. Let's have a look what size that is. So that is about 5 inches diameter, 5 inches. So yeah, if you've got a bowl or a soup mug, or it doesn't even have to be this size. You can make them smaller or larger. So grab what you've got in your kitchen, and whatever you think, you know, that'll do me for now, then just use that. I'm going to cut around that. I can hear the kids, not my kids. I don't have children, but I've got little neighbours. And you often don't hear them, but they're out there in the backyard. And I tell you what, backyard playing is an extreme sport from what I can hear. It sounds like they're having a lot of fun. And I think I just heard Dad come out and tell him to pipe down a little bit. So I think whatever's going on is pretty fun out there. You might be able to hear it through the computer, I'm not sure. Okay, so I've got my round bit. Now this bit, what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to make this into, we're going to fold it and make it into a little sort of strap that can go across your fingers, so you can put your fingers through it and hold your scrubby while you clean your face. So for this, I want it to be, oh, let's have a look. I'm going to go 2.5 inches. If you're not working in inches, if you're working in centimeters, let me grab that ruler and tell you. 2.5 inches approximately is 6.5 centimeters. Or you can just do 6 centimeters, 2 inches if you want. So yeah, I'm going to go 2.5 there. Mark it with my little pencil. Cut off. Oh yes, so someone's crying. Like I said, extreme sport out there. It's gotten a bit much for someone. Now, to go across, we want a bit of overhang. Mine overhangs about that much. So roughly in length, it's 6.5. I can probably even trim that down. So that's 6.5 inches. I might trim that down to, I'll trim that down to 6 inches. So I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just going to cut off, because you do want some overhang. And I'll explain why when we sew this in. It's so that when you sew it in, it actually connects in there and doesn't fall off. So yes, get your little bit, 2.5 inches across by 6 inches down roughly. And that's obviously for a 5-inch round. And like I said, if you're making it big or smaller, you can adjust the length of your piece. Okay. Now, I'm also going to grab one of these. So you do the same. Grab your cloth or your piece of towel, whatever. Measure around your bowl so that it's the same. Once you have cut out your pieces, you got your round, your 2 rounds, same size, and this little piece here. Now we want to make this into our straps, so let's just go over to the ironing board and I'll show you how to fold this. So we're just going to give our piece of fabric a little press. So now what you want to do, so we just want a little bit reinforced. So we just do that with a few folds. Fold it in half. Give it a press. And then, as I said, we fold it in on itself. So you want to fold the bottom part to meet that inner crease. And then fold the top bit in to meet the inner crease as well. And then here you can just fold it over like that. And now what we want to do is go over to our sewing machine. You want to sew straight down one side, about 1/4 inch on both sides. So head over to your machine, stitch that down, and I'll meet you over there and we'll start putting the whole thing together. So like always, we start with our needle in, and we're going to go a couple of stitches forward, a couple of stitches back, and then we're going to go straight down. Just move my thread out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. You might need to put your hand through the neck of your machine and hold the other side. You're not pulling it, you're just holding it straight. So you get that nice straight line. And that just makes sure that you actually catch the edge of the fabric. You don't want to find that you've been stitching and, you know, there's a whole bit of fabric that hasn't been caught and flaps around. Right, so go down to the end. Not all the way to the end, most of the way. Going to go back a couple of stitches and then forward, and that will finish that off for us. So I'm going to pull my needle up, lift my foot up, just going to pull it out like that. You can use your snips. I've got a cutter on the side of my machine. There we go. So that is our scant 1/4 edge. So do that on the other side as well, and then once you've done that, we'll start putting it together. Okay, so you've got all your little bits together. I'm just going to cut off my threads for the end of that. Cut this one off as well. Just make it a bit neater. So trying to sew as neatly as we can. It just helps with putting things together. So what we want to do, you want your right side up on your feature fabric. You're going to take your little strap, place that across. Probably, like, you don't have to measure it, just eyeball as close to the middle as you can. And you've got your 2 little bits hanging off. And that means when we sew around it, it catches that strap properly. Excuse me. Now, our cloth that we're going to use against our face, these microfibers, there's 2 sides to it. You've got your sort of fluffy side, and then you've got your flatter side. It's entirely up to you what you want to have against your skin. So don't feel that you have to choose the right or wrong side. Just think what you would prefer. I would prefer to have the fluffy side, so I'm going to put the fluffy side face down. There we go. Now, to sew, when I cut my microfiber cloth, I wasn't completely exact. So you can see there's, you know, bits showing, and don't worry. If you've done the same thing, don't worry, because the aim is we're going to sew on the inside around here. So we're going to make sure we catch what we need to. So don't worry if it doesn't line up exactly. We're not going to get stressed about those sorts of things. What we want to do is we want to sew around it, but leave a gap. Now you can pin this. You can pop a couple of little pins in. You can put your clips around it. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to wing it because, like I said, I'm fairly lowbrow when it comes to a lot of things with sewing. So I'm going to just hold it as best I can and try and catch it all. And I'm going to try and remember not to sew the gap down the bottom. The reason we need that gap is so when we turn it the right way out, you know, we can pull it through the hole. Otherwise, if we close it, we can't turn it the right way around. So you can pin around, you can clip around, or you can wing it like me. So let's go for it. Now I'm going to start at, the bottom, or what I'm going to say is the bottom. And I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch. And like I said, we want to do 1/4 of an inch on the smallest piece. So if you've done what I've done and cut one bit a bit smaller, we're going to watch the smaller side. We're not going to do 1/4 inch of the big side, because if you do 1/4 inch of the big side, you can guarantee that that stitching is not going to catch one of these pieces of fabric. Needle down, put my thread out of the way, and we're just going to go slow, a couple of little stitches, and then we're going to a couple of little stitches back, and then we're going to go forward. So this is something new for you guys as well. I don't think I've sewn anything round with you before. We've done all square corners. So this is quite easy. I find that the machine seems to feel the fact that it's round, and it sort of pulls it around for you. So all you need to do is just hold it and guide it. So just keeping an eye on your top fabric, nice and slow. Bring that around. We're coming to the first edge of our strap. So straight over there. Because it's not too bulky, it goes over quite well. If it was really bulky, you'd have to be a bit slower and a bit more careful. Feel free to fast forward if you feel like this is something that you have got down pat. But if you are happy to continue watching, then absolutely. I'm just speeding it up a little bit because otherwise I'll be here all day. But like I said, we're just guiding it. So we're kind of ever so gently twisting the fabric and pulling the edges up, but we're not really pulling it, okay, because you don't want to stretch anything. So over the other side of that strap. I can see that this is going to be the bottom bit, so I just want to bring it up a little bit further, probably to where my finger is. Finger out of the way. We're going to reverse and finish with that back stitch there. Needle up, foot up, pull it out a little bit, and then snip your thread. I'm going to snip my threads off there. So there we go. Now, it's entirely up to you if you want to trim these big edges, but you don't need to. Like I said, this is for beginners. If you feel like you're still a bit unsure of trimming edges, you're just learning, that's okay. I'm just going to leave it. Nobody's going to see it. So now we want to turn it the right way around. So you're just going to pull it through, just gently. You don't want to rip your stitches. Just pull that through nice and gently. and just sort of give it a wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. There we go. And so what we want to do now is just give it a press, give it a finger. We call it a finger press, where we just press it with our fingers around the edge. And then we just need to tuck in these bottom parts. So I tuck one side first, give that a finger press, and then fold the other part in and give that a press with my fingers, holding that together. Now you might want to clip or pin this just so that it doesn't wiggle around. I'm going to wing it again. But there we go. And then we just want to do a little bit of a top stitch on the very edge of here. Now guys, I've actually re-edited this particular part of the video because the way I did my top stitch before was quite convoluted. So I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to stitch on top of the stitch that's already there so I can show you the quickest and easiest way of doing it. So you've tucked your ends in, so we're closing it off. So let's pretend we haven't already done that, or I haven't already done that. I'm going to place it at the start of the open gap where my parts are tucked in. I'm going to put my needle down, and we're going to close our gap and continue all the way around and do a nice top stitch. And to do that, we're just going to stitch straight over the edges of our straps. So starting with a going forward, then we'll do a few back as always, and then continuing on. I'm just speeding it up a little bit because it'll take us all day. So just following nice and slowly, going around. Get these extra threads out of the way. I'm doing a 1/4 inch top stitch. We're coming up to our strap. We want to make sure that's nice and flat as it goes through. There we go, straight over the top. Continue on. You can fast forward this if it's something that you are confident with. And we're coming up to our next strap, our next edge. So holding that nice and flat. Under we go. There we go. Bringing it round. And we're going to meet where we started. Okay. Do a back stitch and then forward, and we're done. Needle up. There we go. We can trim our tails. So just trim off your excess threads. There you go. There you have a face scrubby. I'm going to give that a press with the iron, and I'll meet you back at the table. There we have it. One makeup removal pad, or face scrubby, whatever you want to call it. So you can pop your hand in there. Then you can clean your makeup off or clean your face. So you can make these in any size. You can make them much bigger if you want to, or you can make them much smaller. And what's good about these as well is they're fast drying. So if you're going overseas or going on a holiday, it's, you know, holiday season now, you can put a few of these up in your makeup bag and they will dry quickly as long as you just pop them somewhere in the bathroom or put them outside, and they'll dry within minutes. So just give them a nice clean and then you can reuse them. So there you go. A very easy sewing project to get us back into the year of sewing. It's not too arduous. You guys can do this being beginners. So what's good about this project too is, like I said, I've taught you how to sew straight lines. This gets you into the feel of doing rounds, because you'll notice as you're sewing it feels different going through the machine as round edges. So make a whole bunch of these and get the feel of it, and then you'll be a lot more confident in your sewing journey. So I hope that this has been fun. I hope you make a whole bunch of these, give them to your friends and give them to your family, and post pictures. Okay, pop it on down in the comments. You can follow me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram as well, and put your pictures up so we can all see them, and tag me. All right, I will see you next time. Enjoy the first part of the new year, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye.